informal. The whole intention of this session is for me to answer questions to people who have been observing the path, practicing the path. Do I need to use the mic? Seriously? Yes. The mic is in my face. Now, this is the first time that I am doing a session like this, and let me give you an idea. Oh, I got my own table. This is very nice. Thank you. Just to make everybody feel a bit more comfortable, so that you're more relaxed, and as time passes, you feel a little bit more comfortable asking questions. So how did this session, how did it come about? It was actually because Julian and I were having some texts, exchange of texts, and something that he wrote in one of the texts about the nature of the mind and about how I can't remember exactly the words, but I remember very clearly that what I read that day gave me a very good impression of how you have learned over the years. And I thought that BDMS, because I know Yan Yan comes here a lot to give talks, and she conducts meditation here. And so I have this happy impression that many here in BDMS have learned much from her. And because you have learned much from her, you may have questions packed at not the usual kind of questions that you would expect at an open talk, where anything can come this way, like who's the Buddha? You sure or not? That kind of talk. In this setting, more likely that people know in their mind, in their heart, the practice is right. They are inspired. They might have experiences very personal to them, which strengthen their conviction that this path is the path for them, this life. And in their practice, they will try and take it, their own understanding and their own restraint and purification, they will take it as far as they can go in this life. So my purpose here really is to catch up with old friends, which I found 2 and 3. I don't know, have you met before? I think you're quite new to me. I've met you before, yes. 4. I am also seeing you for the first time, I think. Have we met before? Me?
Yeah.
We have met before.
I enjoyed your talk.
Really? Oh, you came for my talk. Where? In where?
Here and then here.
Oh, I see. You must be hiding somewhere. I can't see you. But now I recognize you. I recognize you. You too, I know. I know, I heard. So the intent really is to answer questions. If you have anything burning. Now, I also told June, this is June by the way, I also told June that I suspect at the start, people will be very uncomfortable asking questions, like, Singaporean, very shy one. So, I will ask lah, maybe when I get comfortable enough, when I get to know you enough, and I know you won't step off my head, then maybe I'll ask a question. But it will take a while to come. So, if that's the case, I think I better bring something as backup. In case I sit around and you look at me, I smile at you, you smile back at me, and then we all look very happy. And the face is very happy, but inside there, don't know lah. It's like wasting my time, come all the way here, but stare at you. Noble silence. So this was good, right? So I brought this book here. And this being the day 2,500 years ago, Buddha unveiled Dhammacakka. You're familiar with Dhammacakka, right? So good, I can ask question, right? No, Dhammacakka, you see, let me tell you a little bit about the story of Dhammacakka. Let's just hear the story of Dhammacakka. Hello. Good evening.
That's the other half.
Of who? Oh, for 1 minute. Okay, anyhow. Now, you are, I'm sure everyone here is familiar with Dhammacakkappavattana Suta, right? How many times have you all read it? Let's see how many, Who has read it once only? At least twice. At least twice. 3 times? Who has read it so many times you cannot remember? John. How many times have you read it?
Quite a few times, but I don't pay too much attention to this particular sutta.
I know.
Although it is.
I know, yes. Yes. I understand that. And I completely understand what you're saying because I've read it many times. And in fact, the first time I read it, with the exception of John, I don't know how many of you are born already in the Dhamma army. Because the first time I read it was 30 years ago. When I first went to Mandala to study, that's about 30 years back. And I read it once through, and I said, bo liao. That's it. That's it. Someone entered the string like that. Then I read it again, and over the years, I maybe every other year or so I'll be reading it again. And honestly, it was not until last year, I think. It was not until last year that Dhammacakka actually came alive for me.
Because Sami.
No, I knew it by heart. I knew the Sutta by heart. But it was only somewhere last year it came alive for me. Then I realized what a power cake it was. Because it's actually an extremely powerful sutta. Look, Buddha spent 6 years looking for vimutti, right? Liberation of the mind. As long as he felt trapped, he knew the answer is not there. How did he know? You see, we know he went from teacher to teacher. We know that he consulted prominent teachers of the day. It was not just some half-baked, nobody teacher in charge of some minor school. No. He was a Sakyan. Sakyans were famous in that region. How do we know Sakyans were famous? Because much later on, every time they said, "Oh, you are the Shkyon of the Sakyan. You are your Gautama of the Sakyan clan." Everywhere he went, they all knew that, right? So Sakyans were famous. And this famous son of the Sakyan, when he was looking out for a teacher, and we know he was educated, of sort of the day, he would have gone to a good teacher. And he went. And he was so good, within a very short time of being with them, he exceeded, either parallel or exceeded. Within a short time, he learned their methods. We know all that. But what's the significance of all that? It means he was very smart and he knew exactly what he wanted. How many of us can say that when we go into this Dhamma, we knew what we wanted? We knew Dhamma. Simi si Dhamma. Don't know. Teacher say what I follow. Something like that. But he knew what he wanted. So the question is, how come he knew? He went in with a goal. And his goal was vimutti, liberation. Now, for most people of his time, liberation came after death. Because if you understand the conventional story of the day, right, the Vedic faith, liberation means reunification with Brahma. The Atta reconnects with Brahma, for them, 丢了, right? But he was not going for that. He was going for liberation that you can experience here and now. That is why even when he came out of Arupa Jhana, which is Jhana is incredible. Your mind goes completely still. And for as long as that power of the energy of the jhana is still within your brain, you will come out feeling just like $1 million. You're feeling so nice, right? Hence all the funny description about how beautiful it is, how wondrous it is. But he knew it wasn't it. Despite all the relief, he kept saying it's not it. So the question is, how did he know, you see? He must have been watching his mind so closely that even just a twitch from the mind, he knows. And as long as that mind twitches, it cannot be it. That's how he... I'm guessing this was probably it. And on his own, he knew it has to go back to some kind of a stillness, and then let's from there examine the nature of the mind. So you see in many suttas in Majjhima Nikaya, captured in the Samyutta also, you see in many suttas, his description was descriptions of the mind's nature, the mind's habit. Okay? Now after 6 years of struggle, of which he almost died. If you have read my book, you'll know he almost died. He definitely almost died. Because you had him hallucinating. Or even if you say they were not hallucination, there were enough devas whispering to themselves saying, this is it, he's turning black. Now, we have no doctors here, do we? You are the closest to a medical person. When a person turns black, even as he is alive, have you seen people who are dying? Sometimes they turn quite grey before it's the end. That was what he looked like, probably. Hence you have the Dewa saying, he's turning black. And he himself was saying that when he pinched his stomach, he touches his spine. I mean, obviously he didn't touch his spine, but the point is, he knew that it was bad. That he knew how to turn back. Now you must, I'm setting the stage in your mind. I'm setting it in your mind. So you have all these things, right? And he got it, right? Can you imagine the relief? And now he finally, after internal debates, he decided he was going to teach. Okay? You look at your own life. Suppose let's say all you know is cooking or baking, and you wanted to bake the perfect cake. And when the perfect cake comes out, what do? Eat it. You must tell the world, right? The perfect cake comes out, you caught the fish, the perfect fish, you must take picture, I know it's panatipata, but still you want to take picture. But the point is, when it is something so impactful that solve all your problems, and will solve others' pain, you will want to share. And that's Dhammacakka. So I told myself, I said, cannot be, there's nothing there. It has to be. That is why I every other year or so I go back and re-examine the thing. Because this was the Buddha coming out, meeting his students of target. It's not by the way, hello, 请坐, and then let me explain to you Dhammacakka. It's not like that. He went in after them. He talent spotted. Right? He scanned through his head, he scanned through his head, right? And then he said, this five can get it. Why is it so important he had to find someone that can get it? I mean, why did he just... Look, he was in a land surrounded by practitioners. In case you don't know, where he was practicing, right next to Niranjara River, that area were all the practitioners. It's a practitioner base. How do we know that? Because after he went to teach this 5, he walked back to there to teach. So he went back there and there were 1,000 of them there. Minimally there were 1,000 of them there, meaning a lot. We don't know whether it's, okay, like roll call, 1, 2, 3. We don't know lah. But we know there are a lot of them. So he wanted that 5 because this was literally the opening law. As a teacher, I will tell you, when I first came out to teach 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago, it was at Mandala. I sweated as I prepared lessons. The lesson was like Sunday, right? My first lesson, like going in as a teacher, very paiseh. Because just 1 year ago, I was sitting on the other side, and it was Bante Nyanarama said, come and teach. So, okay, Bante, you must go. Me and Yen are to summon for duty. I can tell you, we prepared so hard. We wanted to make sure that we don't stand up there and the mind freeze. You will never catch me going for class like that tonight. Coming here with no script. 20 years later can do that. 20 years ago cannot do. Every night was, every lesson was very well prepared. Every line was crafted. You all just started, right? Every line was crafted. Buddha must have been the same. He talent spotted 5 fellas. He was confident they could understand. And he was tweaking his lesson as he went along. That's why it came out number 2, Anatta Lakkhana. Number 3, the other one, the Fire Sutta. He was tweaking as he went along.
There was an interesting encounter. He met at assembly, remember?
Correct.
What is your Dhamma?
Correct.
And he says, I'm the greatest in the world. Obviously, the time doesn't think through.
Because it was, the guy said, you look so nice. Could you tell me your teacher? And what did he teach? The guy assumed he's not the teacher. Yeah, you're right. But yes, he hasn't prepared his lesson yet. So his thing was, I got no teacher. I'm the one who found it myself. That fella said, okay, he gong lah. Then he walked away. What does it mean? First unveiling, it didn't work. So he went there, they were not going to be very pleased to see him. Now you think about it, you put yourself in their shoes. They followed him for 5 years. Did you even notice that the canon did not say they followed him when he went under the other 2 teachers? It didn't. They only followed him after he embarked on his self-mortification program. The Kill Yourself Today program. It's only when he did that, they followed him. Then they hovered like a vulture, waiting for him to just as with his dying breath, this is it. They must have been waiting for that. Then it didn't happen. He went back to food. Then they went, they left. So you think about this, he chose the first 5 people he was going to teach were people who betrayed him. They abandoned him at his lowest point. You don't think about the 5 years they were with him. They abandoned him at his lowest point. He only just decided he was going back to a regular meal after a starvation diet of many moons. We don't even know for how long. And they left. You can say 无情无义 lah. I mean, you can use whatever words. John, you understand Chinese, right? Okay. If not, you'll be the reason why I don't use Chinese. But he chose them because regardless of the history that they had, they had certain conditions he knew were necessary to understand the Dhamma. That's the point which we need to bear in mind. Regardless of your history, if the individual has the conditions that could understand the Dhamma, you will teach. And in his mind at that time, what he thought were necessary conditions was whether they were willing to practice. They had that discipline. They were turning away from regular intoxication. The rest of us are caught up in lay life, enjoying our sensual delights. We can't hear what he's saying. But these guys were prepared to die with him. They were just waiting for him to show the way. But they were prepared to do it. So they had turned away from sensual pleasures. And they were well into self-mortification. They didn't do it as severely as he did. But they were like-minded in that way. So the discipline was there. The wisdom was there. They knew the answers to liberation cannot be found in regular life. So in that sense, they had wisdom. They talent spotted him. Minimally, that was wisdom, because they knew what's a good teacher. He got no background. You see, you remember after Buddha came out to teach, right? He time and again he encountered this problem. Everybody saying, black hair. What do you know? But they had no such reservations. All of them were probably older than him. Kondanya, we know for sure is older than him. But they had no reservations. They were not looking at age. They were not looking at. They knew he was going to help them. So they had some wisdom. Just that they were disappointed, but they had wisdom. Okay, they had that. They help. They know how to kuanang. They kuanang. Then they kind of missed the point. Then but they still had wisdom. So I think the wisdom, the discipline, the odds are the yogis of the day will know how to meditate, so their mind can go quiet enough. So they had some necessary mental conditions which make them promising candidates. Okay? Then comes Dhammacakka. And what is interesting about Dhammacakka, in my view, in fact, many things are very interesting. I spent long enough staring at it. Many things are very interesting about Dhammacakka. So a bit of Q&A first. Do you recall what he started with? You see, you're going to give a talk about your teaching. What's your teaching on? Liberation, right? You're teaching, he's going to teach them liberation. You must remember the objective. They followed him because they want to know what's liberation. So your teaching is on liberation. The typical start point of a teaching, where will it be? If you think about it, right, the regular person giving a talk, you will put a hypothesis, right? You will say something about your teaching. My teaching makes the following points about reality, for instance. So technically, you would expect that he will start with the Four Noble Truths. But was that how he started? He didn't. Dhammacakka didn't start with, let me explain to you the Four Noble Truths, which was actually the essence of the teaching, the crux of the teaching. It started with, there are two extremes you should avoid. Indulgence to the extreme, and mortification, self-mortification, self-denial to the extreme. Self-mortification to the extreme. Because these two methods, I'll put it in regular English, because these two methods will not work. They are dead end. The first one, he added two adjectives. He calls them ignoble, low, hina, low, vulgar. The other one, painful. He didn't call it low and vulgar. It's painful. Now, this already should give you a clue as to what's Dhamma. Dhamma is not about knowledge per se. Dhamma is really about the way you conduct life, you handle your life, the choices you make. In life, as we experience life, every day, every moment, it's about choices. Do you understand that? Dhamma, you see, a lot of us, when we go into Dhamma, our fixation is what did the Buddha say about the nature of the world? What did he say? It's almost as if Buddha say it and you understand it as it is, sure you can understand everything. But what did he start with? Ladies and gentlemen, this is my first class, I'm going to tell you, avoid these two things. Why? Those must be the most important things, you see? So the first thing he said was about choices. And therefore, in the way that we conduct our life, moment to moment, the choices that you make has to be middle. No excessive indulgence. He's not saying you cannot have pleasure. He said, do not indulge to the extreme. Meaning you let go and you indulge. You yes.
No, wasn't it because the 5 students, they originally really criticized him for taking the rule, and then they were really practicing the very extreme self-control.
That is true.
So I'm thinking you might have started it that way to
Possible.
shock them so that because they might be very skeptical of what he has to say.
You see, by the time he opened his mouth to talk, right, you notice the words that are used, right? Oh, it's not here. It's not in Dhammacakka itself. I think it's in the Vinaya. Louder please. Arya Pariyasana Sutta. It's Majjhima Nikaya. It's when in that sutta it captured the meeting between the Buddha and the disciples. I mean the 5 ascetics. And initially, yes, they were going to no-hew him because he said, well, he can sit where he wants. It's his option. And then they noticed that something was different, and then they decided to, oh, this is different. And they accorded him with respect. Yes, it is possible they were going to be somewhat skeptical. But even then, you can still start off with, let me explain a little bit about the nature of the world. You could have lah. But this point, in a sutta that you unveil, this is the usual explanation, you're right. The usual explanation is, he talked about, because someone has to explain why he talked about the 2 extremes, instead of plunging into the 4 Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. And in most cases, they will say it's to address the skeptical nature of the minds of the ascetics. That is true. But at the same time, he could have done it in the middle. He could have said, I have unveiled this, I've understood the nature of the mind. If you would open your mind up, I will explain to you. He could have done that. But instead, he went in and straight on, what you're doing is wrong. The other side also wrong. So my theory, in fact my belief, quite strongly, is this is where many of us will fumble. It is a path. The Dhamma is a path, a practice, a choice. This part is very important. And if you remember this sutta, which when we go through, you will know, the only thing that has elaboration is the Eightfold Path. All the others have no elaboration. What you know of dukkha and origin were elaborated many ways in substantial detail in other suttas. But this is the only one which all the 8 is down. Indeed, basically all the 8 parts of the path is down. And if you look at both sides, if you take bird's eye view of the Suta and you count the stanza, you'll find that actually the path takes a bit more occupy more space in the Suta. So therefore, my postulation, and I still maintain it's a postulation, is in this practice, it's not the knowledge. The knowledge is essential to convince you to adopt the path. But having knowledge without the path, without knowing what to do to change your mind, nothing works. The knowledge is just knowledge. You understand it? It's like knowing the nature of the body. As a doctor, I know the nature of the body. But I have never done a cut on your body. Then I will never really know how inside works until I see for myself. Now you can see YouTube, but still.
It's interesting that you talk about this point, because I was thinking about this as well.
Yeah.
The words he used, veering away from both extremes.
Yes.
And if you look at the Chinese one, it's Li. And I understand now why they use Li. It's sometimes most people say that it's a submission, it's a middle.
Yes.
Neither
Yes.
two,
Yes.
but it is throwing away the two extremes.
Yes.
And if you look at the
Yes.
What is a middle? When there is two, right? I think you said there's a middle, right? But in this case, I don't think it's like that. It's like these two are not. And when I read this, I don't mind.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
This is the whole intention.
When I read Professor Karuna, he says that when the Buddha used inner, low, vulgar for sexual pleasure, because the nihilists, they don't imagine a life after death. So if we are not restrained, why keep yourself so controlled, right?
I
Let's
see.
enjoy.
Right.
So in that case, this sexual pleasure is inner, is vulgar.
Right.
But when it comes to self-mortification, it has a purpose, right? So that you can unite with Brahma,
Yeah.
because there's an afterlife. So you practice this, although it's not correct, but if you compare it to
The other one, which is lower.
that's why the Buddha don't use vulgar. And if you look at the Jetavana Sutta, what Sutta is it?
Which one? What is it about?
The one about the two extremes, nihilism and
Oh, okay.
Jetavana Sutta. Is it?
Whatever.
Yeah. Okay. It links to the two.
Yeah.
This the Buddha says the middle path, and he says, the most people in the world, they will view the world as permanent.
Oh yes,
Eternal?
yes.
Or-
Eternal or nihilism.
Yeah, that's right.
Eternalism and nihilism.
and nihilism, right?
Yeah.
So he says, I will teach you the middle path, which is also the discarding of the stools.
Yes.
And that is a very important sutta. He said, because once you look at the world with wisdom, and see that the world doesn't exist. If you look at the bit of wisdom, you know that whatever exists is not permanent. So this two sutta is very pivotal. So it seems to join with what is being said here. It's not being the what you call the taking of the average.
I know what you're saying. You see, all these 5 ascetics were educated young men. Young men, but not quite young.
Looking for something.
Meaning to say, they already knew the teachings of the days. And what you have just described are the arguments of the day. The arguments of the day were all about this life end. I told you, right? Actually, this thing is not just in India. Everywhere it's the same. Look, when it talks about death, there are only 2 versions. There are only actually 2 versions. One version is simple. The annihilistic version is simple. I always call it worm food. Die already become worm food, or ashes, or pollutant to the air. The second version has different permutations. Permutation 1, the body dies, the soul lives on.
Yes.
forever. So that's version 1. Version 2, the second version means the body dies, but something else lives on. Okay? So in this, something else lives on has different permutations. Permutation 1, it lives on in an eternal life, and different culture has different version, not just the Indian version. Different culture has different version. In fact, the Indians were the one that does not have an end point. Indian doesn't have. Their end point is reunification with Brahma. But in the different culture, like the Egyptian, I keep saying the Egyptians have the golden field, the Vikings have the banquet hall, the great Wahana or something like that, the great banquet hall. Chinese one is, the Chinese took the ideas from the Indian and give it a spin, okay? So version 1, you die, finish, eternity, different existence. The second version is, you die, you're reborn, and the soul, round and round and round, that's the Chinese version, around and round and round and round, but it's something consistent that goes round and 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 round, and there's no way out. You just go round and round and round, forever and ever. Eternalism. The Indians, I'm not sure if you're familiar, have many permutations of the round and round and round. Version 1, the driving force, there are no driving forces explaining rebirth. In fact, there is the version that says your rebirth is all chopped and approved already. It's like when you unroll a yarn, it will just unwind itself to the logical conclusion. You like it or not, this life you're going to be a beggar, next life you're going to be a king. It's all, everybody takes his turns.
84,000 times.
Something like that. Number is just number lah. Yeah. And there are many versions. Actually, it's scholars who come along and offer different theories. My personal view, having gone through this practice and all, my personal view is don't think too hard. The Buddhist Dhamma is actually very straightforward. There is no imagination, there is no need to think too hard. It really is describing the absolute nature of minds. Don't think too hard. This is important. Why do I say that? You look at your own instincts. What are your instincts? You are a regular person, right? You're a conventional man and woman. Your regular instinct is you either smack yourself or you indulge. That's a regular instinct.
Mostly
Mostly you give in. So think of it like this. Do you give in, or do you not only deny, you make it painful for yourself? And we talk about everything. Here you're talking about sensual experiences. What about relationship? Think of the time in relationship. You either 修到爆 or 你 let's say someone you love very much and you feel in your wonderful construction you have concluded the person betrayed you. And what do? You cut the thing. Regardless of how painful it is for you or for that person, you punish the person by punishing yourself. You punish yourself, punish that fella. You refuse to forgive, you refuse to forget. Never mind, next life we see, we fight again. Human instincts are not that complex. The Buddha's not describing fantasies, He's really describing your mind. These two extremes reside in everybody, under every circumstances, in every choices that you make. You go look at your mind. When you say I indulge, it's Kama Sukha Nikanu Yogo. If you say I refuse to give in, I will die standing, that's the other one. And what is this middle path? He says, and the middle path, because what is interesting is what he said. You are right, but he actually used the word Majjhima Patipada, which means middle of the two. And no, it is not 50-50. It means do not go near those two.
Yes. Very good.
That's the point. Do not go near the two extremes. We will take the position that looks like this. It is not middle path per se. He gave a name to the method. It's a method. It is not that the path of the Buddha runs in the middle of the two. It's not like that. It actually means there is a way of avoiding these two. The name I give it, middle path. That's the point. And more importantly, it looks like this. And then he went on, right? Samadhi, sama sankappa, sama baca, sama kamanta, sama, okay, in English, ajiva, livelihood, effort, sati, samadhi, right? Samadhi. In most cases, for most people, they know the words, but they actually don't know how to operationalize it, how to do it right, and they see it as a step. Let me one step. But have you all seen a wheel? Have you seen a wheel? You go look at a car when the wheel moves. Do you see steps? You don't. It's actually one blank slate. So actually, for the path to come alive, it should look like a moving wheel. It should not look like 8 steps. It should not look like 8 spokes. So what does it mean? In real life, you see something that annoys you. Straight away your mind must say, there is something I crave, I want, there is a one thing here. Because the first one says samadhi, right understanding. Right understanding is a collapsed thing. It is not first noble truth, second noble truth. It's a collapsed thing. Right understanding means I know for myself there is craving in me, there's a wanting in me, therefore the agitation has a reason. And going by the path, so you know what's happening. I know there's anger arising. And in this anger, there is a wanting. According to the teaching, what's the next one? Right thought. I should let go of the wanting. That's why it's nekamma. You have the understanding, you must let go lah. Nekamma, renunciation, let it go. You must hold on to awayapada. Don't let the irritation grow. When the irritation grows, it becomes vihimsa. If the irritation doesn't grow, there will be avihimsa. So it is not one by one. You see an irritation, you let it go, there will be no agitation, there will be no cruelty. If there is no cruelty, the words won't come out. It's always the mind first, then the words. That's why it's in that order. If your mind is already akusala, the words eventually will pop out. As it pops out, you might act on it. Okay? Do you understand up to this point? Isn't it one shot? It's in one spin of a wheel that's there already. And then, look at the next one. Right effort. After all the effort of doing the right thing, still got what effort? What did right effort start with? Yan Yan's famous one. Okay, what's the first one? Prevent. Look, why does it start with prevent? You're a practitioner, it should come up to here already, right? So if it comes up to here, you see, right speech, right action, right livelihood. If it comes up to here, it should start with kusalama. I mean, at least it's not akusalama. So akusala not present, don't let it come up. Akusala present, you must purge. Means the part you fight lost, you lost your battle. Akusala is there. Now it's remember your effort. Drop it. You still cannot drop it. Bring out your kusala. Bring it up. Because if anything can overcome akusala, is kusala. This is the part we are supposed to remember. You want to ask me how you practice in daily life? You get annoyed, can you bring up metta? Cannot, you su liao. You didn't even learn any of the things the Buddha said. You understand the Dhamma, you have any craving, you have a craving, the dukkha will come up. That's why you feel agitated. Wow, what is that? Hello, hello. Oh, that one.
No, so that.
Yeah. You see, no matter how, it's all in your daily life. The steps are to help you walk correctly. It's to help you walk correctly. Then you say, yeah, but meditation, it's not. They are all together. So I continue. Assuming you got your viriya right, very nice and very quiet, very joyous, very giving, very metta, very, very nice, right? Of course your mind is in the present. The mind gets into fantasy mode lah because of lobha. It gets into regret lah because of dosa. It gets into worry because of lobha and dosa. And every one of them is moha. Now where is the time when your mind drifts? It will drift into fantasizing or imagining, planning, or it will be ayah. Huh? Regret. Or sit. Worry. Past and future, of course. But even now, you're also regretting. You can regret like, right now, I got nothing to do now. How I got nothing to do? It's still now. So people usually say it's past and future. You're right. And it's true. Most time it's that. But even let's say you don't know the Dhamma, right? Even now it's very agitating, I got nothing to do. I'm very bored. Something like that. So your mind fantasize. Every time your mind drifts off, it's lobha dosa in the picture. That's all. Lobha is greed, dosa is anger. There is something you want, something you're not getting, you're getting a bit irritated. Every time the mind drifts, it has to do with lobha or dosa, or lobha, dosa, moha. Very the kilat, all in. Why do I say that? You think about it. Yeah, tomorrow meeting how? I got no lobha ma, you are worried. You don't want to look bad, so you want to look good. You don't want anything to happen, you want things to go smoothly. Isn't that a kind of one thing? Of course. You see what I'm saying? It's everything. You name anything. You can. I'm so confident you can name anything. I'm going to miss my bus. I want to catch the bus. I want to be on time somewhere. I want to save time. There's always I want somewhere. So how does it help the Eightfold Path? Remember the right effort? Right effort is when you're focused on metta, joy, giving, others. The whole intent of focusing on kusala is to cut out the defilements. If you can cut out the defilements, the I is missing. Yourself is missing. There will be no fear. There will be no anger. Even fear. If you're walking along the road and you're worried about something, don't look at the worry, bring out the kusala. As much as you can, you bring out the kusala. Don't let your mind think. Thinking will bring out the akusala. So you just focus on the mental energy of kusala. Any kusala you like. The Buddha, faith can protect the fellow, okay, because it's very kusala. The concentration on joy, metta, left, right, metta. You concentrate on the metta, mental energy, there is no thought. If there is thought, your metta is metta. You start the fire. The fire cannot start. It grows a bit, then freezing from your fear. It's like that. You understand? So, okay.
It sounds a bit like what Buddha said about the grabbing our cat. It's a replacement. Right?
Exactly.
And it's also compact because
all his methods are meant to keep the defilements at bay. I must introduce this everywhere into the lecture. All the methods that he taught is really, you don't have to use all of them. But when you have an idea what they are, and you're very clear about what the Eightfold Path, you will know why those methods were introduced. They were all meant to help you keep the wheel spinning, keep the Dhamma wheel spinning in your mind. It's not spinning everywhere else, it's spinning here. Because if it spins correctly and you're very kusala, your mind automatically will be quite quiet and you're mindful. Mindfulness, I repeat, has nothing to do with robotic activity. It's nothing to do with that. Mindfulness is all about mindfulness of the Dhamma. So I give you an example. Now your mind is quite quiet, right? When your mind is quite quiet, if you were to say, indeed it's true, Third Noble Truth. The Noble Truth. Sorry, we haven't even gone into the Noble Truths yet. I was talking so happily about the path, we forgot about the Noble Truths. The Noble Truth is cessation, which I will explain later. But if your mind is relatively quiet and quite still, you must straight away remember there is no craving, there is no dukkha. There is no wanting, there is no dukkha. That's why the mind is here and now. But it will drift because we are not pure enough, we have defilements, the result of which is the craving will start, the thoughts will begin. You will not drift when there is very little craving. Your mind will drift only when the cravings are a lot. Then you say, I'm not greedy person. It's nothing to do with greed. It's not about greed. It's about a natural instinct to meddle here, meddle there, want something. It's very built-in instinct. If you look at your own mind, right? I think I will call that fellow, remind her to close window. She said, I don't know whether my daughter eat ready or not. I don't know whether the food is warm. You're not craving, ma. You say, I'm not craving. You're craving. Can you see that? There's a one thing there. Wait, craving what? I want billionaire. Who's so stupid every day want to be millionaire? It's the little thing that trip us. Why you put your shoe here? Why your seat cover go down? Why you squeeze one toothpaste in the middle? That kind of thing lah. It's the little thing. Why you eat jump so loud? It's the little thing. He's not his fault, is it? She's not her fault, is it? The body knows, ma. Why you blame the character? It's nothing to do with the character, but it's just like that. We have strong instincts about protecting pleasure. Everything that is so you will make do when it's neutral. You are happiest when it's pleasant, but you must siam at all costs painful, right? So your mind already given instruction. It's very vigilant. Nothing works better than this part. Your mind very vigilant. A little bit only, painful coming. Siam. This part of you is very instinctive. And the Eightfold Path is about recognizing this part where you twitch at the fear of pain, so that you become aware whatever that arises fades, so that you don't twitch so hard. Little bit you twitch, you must be zai, you must ride, something like that lah. So the path will take you from managing the grosser defilements to micromanaging the finer defilements. As you practice, your anger should not be landmine or should not be like that. As you practice, maybe the mind is right next to you only, meaning it's something that cuts very close to the skin, to the heart. That's where it hurts. Okay? This is for you to know for yourself. What does it take to arouse the defilements? This you must know. Mindfulness is so that you know. Mindfulness is so that you know to stay on the path. How to stay on the path. What you must abandon. You must know what's coming up. Then you say, off the Dhamma. You know what I'm saying? You say, yeah, but isn't that panya? You tell me Eightfold Path, they got panya meh? The whole thing is panya. The whole path is panya. But that mindfulness sticks with panya. Everything sticks with panya. It is with panya you learn to control your tongue. You learn to control your action. You learn to let go of the unwholesome thoughts. It's with panya you do that. Do you understand this? That's why 37 factors of enlightenment is the last one that is Eightfold Path. So Bante, the Tathagata, right at number 1 lecture, throw at people Eightfold Path, then he realized, beside they don't get it. So along the way, it gets longer, more and more parts. Until one day, towards the end of his life, 37. 37 didn't appear on day 1. 37 didn't appear on day 2. 37 didn't appear until a bit later, much later, because by then a lot of students already. By then there were a lot of students, and you know that along the way, right? You'll be the 4 Indriyas, you'll be the 7 factors of enlightenment. Actually, they were in parts. That's why in the many suttas where he says, if you have the 5 faculties, you will enter the street, you will realize Nibbana. If you have the 7 factors of enlightenment, you will enter the street, you will realize Nibbana. They were in parts because it was meant for individual to chong in a certain way, to shape their mind in a certain way. But the Eightfold Path is the same as the others, except it's right at the end, it sits on wisdom. Okay, it doesn't just float on its own. That is why for most of us, we don't understand what's so big deal about the Eightfold Path. At primary school, at secondary school pass exam already got Eightfold Path. The Buddha, one of the last things he said, when he passed on, he says, with the Eightfold Path, there will be Arya. I O-level already know that. But I'm not Arya, come because you actually don't know how to implement it right in daily life. They are meant to help you purify the mind, wash away the defilements. Only when you successfully wash away the defilement, scrub really, fear, scrub, get rid of it. Metta, then dry up already. It's the metta that dries up all this nonsense, right? The metta, the karuna. It's your kusala that dries out the akusala. Kusala is so powerful you cannot believe it. Okay? And it is so powerful that even when you are at the height of anger, right? Let's say your brain are boiling 100 degrees. I'm quite graphic Must be graphic if people remember No graphic how to remember, right? So let's say you burning, right? Okay. So as it burns, then you suddenly remember, jialat. Buddha says, don't hurt self, don't hurt others. What am I doing? Slapping self, slapping others. At that time, your faith must come in a big way. You must bow in gratitude to the Buddha. At that, if you can do all those things, if your saddha is very strong, you can do it. You say, I drop this. I won't think anymore, because it's the thinking that causes defilements. You won't think anymore. No shankara. Suddenly it will turn. The joy that surges up enough to dry up all your defilements. It's incredible. Why wouldn't more people do it? Because they didn't believe. Not enough faith. They don't believe. You must believe. And then sometimes we say, actually, if you are very familiar, it's about familiarity. Let's say you really do metta, left, right. But the Dhammo says, 20 minutes, 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, 20 minutes a day. Right? 20 minutes a day. Just do it. A day then. That's all. 7 days. 7 years. very fast. Not, you don't need 7 years. Within days, you will find that metta comes on like a radio fusion. No? Oh, metta, metta, go. It really is true. It's true. Radio fusion. What? Radio fusion is the one that is like 24 hours on tap like that. That version. Not the Jujansan version. You must find the knob. The Jujansan version got to find the knob. Metta where? Your favourite yes, good lah. Chanting
No, she like metta.
Yeah. Good. No, it works. Do some more. Okay, now we go on. Okay, what is the middle path awakened by the Tathagata which gives rise to vision, which gives rise to knowledge, which leads to peace, to direct knowledge, to enlightenment, to nibbana. Every word here matters. The enlightenment process. Actually, not just enlightenment process. Your enlightenment to what the Buddha taught. Meaning your awakening to what the Buddha taught also goes through this. You sit there, you listen to talk. When the talk begins to make sense, it's an awakening, right? That awakening also goes through this process as he had described. Okay, now let me explain. Gives rise to vision. You have an idea how it works. You can see how it can work. That's the idea. You can see how it works. You can see why it is like that. Rise to knowledge. See, and then there must be some explanation in your mind. Oh, yes, I get it. That too is two parts. There is a sudden awakening and a realization. That's the vision. And then the knowledge builds. It means this, it means that, and so on. That's the knowledge. So like an example, let's say you are angry. There is anger. So that's a defilement, right? And then suddenly you remembered Buddha said about metta. So you bring up metta. You don't know lah, you just do it lah. But Buddha says so, you do lah. So you bring up. Quite grumpy, right? So you bring up. And let's say on that day it worked. Suddenly your agitation get wiped out. All of a sudden it gets wiped out. And then the joy erupts. What has happened? You will see. You are a witness to an event that is happening in you. This is vision. And then you understand. When you understand, and you begin to understand more, that's knowledge. In every part of learning, it's like that. Gives rise to vision, gives rise to knowledge. Then he didn't say gives rise to peace. Leads to peace. You feel. The moment that happens, you feel you come one. 你服了. That's a better word. 服 is a better word. 你服了. You're content. Because you have experience with the Dhamma. You have one experience with what he taught. You're content. Gives rise to peace. And why is it? You see, earlier on is knowledge, which gives rise to knowledge, but it leads to direct knowledge. It leads to peace, to direct knowledge. Why this time round second word? Because you are the eyewitness. You've seen for yourself. This is an experiential knowledge. This is not a conceptual knowledge. It led to an experiential piece of knowledge. 懂了吗? Enlightenment. And then when you get the big one, Nibbana. Okay? So whatever it is, in all the steps that you grow in the Dhamma is like that. You will first see and then you correlate. The point when you correlate the Dhamma, the teaching, to what you are experiencing, that is a vision, your eyewitness. It will lead to the rise of that, the vision that arises. And then you understand what he taught. And then you feel really good about it. This is an experiential thing. Right? It's an item, no? 懂了，我懂了. And you will never forget. You see it once, this kind you see it once, you never forget. Every Dhamma experience is like that. When we talk about growing the Dhamma, we are talking about all these occasions. You can mark it against the wall. 今天有3个, 明天有4个. You're growing in the Dhamma. Some people grow faster. This one not go by years. Some people just go faster because of the mental states. The mental states, there are 5 mental states, which you all know, right? Saddha, Virya, Sati, Samadhi, Magnya. Okay? And that, he says, what is this middle way awakened by the Dhamma, which gives rise to vision, knowledge, and so on, which leads to Nibbana? It is the Eightfold Path. Right view, right intention, right speech, action, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, and concentration. Now, so you listen to how he said it. This path, doing it like this as a spinning wheel, not in steps, as a spinning wheel, as life, as you experience life, as you engage with life. Every time the defilements come up, the spinning wheel must start. Every time kusala is present, the spinning wheel is churning by itself, meaning the spinning wheel is there. Do you hear how I say it differently? When it's akusala, your spinning wheel must start because it stopped spinning. But when it is kusala, see the spinning wheel there. That's the difference. Okay? And then he explained. The drum roll and all. This part no drum roll yet. Because later on the devas came out to celebrate. The drum roll started. Okay? Now this bhikkhu is the noble truth of dukkha. Birth is dukkha. Aging is dukkha. Illness is dukkha. Death is dukkha. Our mind like to gloss over these words. 我知道了. 生老病死吗? I understand. Actually, 不是，没有生。Okay,生老，真的是生老病死哦。对，生老病死。Oh, my Mandarin damn jialat. Okay, the 生老病死. So our mind glosses over this. This is where he talks about anicca, but your mind glosses over it. See that? So the very first thing when he talks about anicca, people didn't understand. Actually, in each of the points that he made, embedded in all 3 parts, embedded there, anicca, dukkha, anatta, but nobody caught it. 生老病死 is impermanence, and it's dukkha, and it's anatta, because it's a process. But the first 5 disciples didn't get it either, except for Kondanya. The other 4 didn't get it. Like the rest of us never caught it. We also didn't catch it. But this is the fundamentals of life. The one part that even if you are an arahant, you can't escape. And our mind glosses over it because our mind doesn't like to think of bad. We only like part 1 of 4, Sen. That's why we happy birthday to you as we celebrate your death because dying. Because that's the reality, right? Because every year we celebrate for you as you are nearing the end. But of course when we are celebrating, we don't mean it like that lah. We meant it in a positive way. We're so happy you were born. Without realizing that we are also so happy you are growing. Oh, so happy. But that's the nature.
The day you're born, you should cry.
Which we did. That's that cute little joke, right? You cry, everybody laugh, right? Everybody smile. Then when you die, hopefully you smile, everybody cry. hopefully not the other way around. You cry, everybody laugh. This is wasted life. Okay. Anything else I want to say here? This one is very important because if this 生老病死 part, right, this 4, if it doesn't hit you, you don't feel it deep enough, you actually can't really understand anicca. When are you gonna upload it? That talk.
Which one?
The one at BF, that talk.
I'll see.
I'll see. I'll see.
Give me 1 week.
1 week's time, look out for the JTI Facebook. I gave a talk on Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta. Actually, the 4th perversion at BF. And you go through that talk, it will explain a lot more details, the substance of this Anicca thing. Then he says, union with what is displeasing is dukkha. Separation from what is pleasing is dukkha. This one is about change. It's about change. And it's also about Sankara Dukkata over here. Because you think about it, you think about it. Suppose, let's say, you love someone a lot and the person went off. You're very sad, right? We all agree with you, you're very sad. Then you get amnesia. You still sad, no? When you get amnesia, you're not sad anymore. You can be sad only when there's a memory of there must be attachment and there is memory. You have no attachment, no memory, you got no construction, you won't be sad.
Good riddance.
You see, it all sits on memory and construction. If you don't remember and you don't construct, there will be no dukkha. If you remember, meaning your data retrieval system works perfectly well, but you don't think about it, no dukkha. Dukkha starts only when the thinking starts. And that is also conditionality. It's conditional dukkha. Okay? Then comes the final one. The 5 aggregates subject. Not to get what one wants is dukkha. Again, this is construction. This is all construction. The 5 aggregates subject to clinging are dukkha. The 5 aggregates, he did not explain them today. He merely threw it there into the wind, and so the 5 also blur. He just threw it there. He didn't explain it in this sutta. Then, in brief, and much later on, I told you Buddha fine-tuned as he went along, right? So as he fine-tuned, everything got elaborated. Because this is what you call the star pupil of the year. Okay? Well, I tell you something even more amazing. Tonight you got time, right? Okay. Okay, now, origin, the noble truth of the origin of dukkha. It is this craving which leads to renewed existence, accompanied by delight and lust, seeking delight here and there. That is craving for sensual pleasure, craving for existence, craving for vibhava tanha. I will change it into Pali, because this place is very good. Everybody knows Pali here, right? Vibhava tanha. Okay. Wait. Now, I usually would dare to bet, but here in BDMS, in the presence of a few fellas like you guys, I think I don't bet. Usually I will bet. I will say, I bet you only saw Kama Tangha, Bhava Tangha, Vibhava Tangha, you didn't see the rest. And usually people go, yeah, it's true. But here I dare not say, because here the people very niao, because spot words. So spot the words, spot the words, spot the words. But it is very interesting. The words are interesting, the little ones. It leads to, hear the words, it is this craving which leads to renewed existence. Now we immediately think it's about rebirth. It's not. It's about here and now. The moment there is a craving, existence. If you do not think and no craving, your mind is like that. For your mind to move, there has to be craving. So if you sit and do nothing, nothing happens. But the regular mind will die because it seeks stimulation. The regular mind seeks stimulation in order to feel alive. Can you hear the words? Which is what it said here. Renewed existence. It is this cravings which leads to renewed existence. Craving drives your moment to moment. Okay? And it drives your moment to moment accompanied by delight. The last, immediately you think of sex, but it is not. It's hunger. It merely means hunger. And the mind seeking delight here and there. This is how craving drives. Craving drives, it's the battery that leads life to move on, moment to moment. And as the life moves, your every moment is a rebirth. Your every moment is an existence. You see it as a continual existence, but really it's a becoming. It's a becoming. And in the becoming, he is telling us your becoming is driven by craving. You sit here, you do nothing, you want to know what's coming out next. 就是这样咯。Were you there last night? 就是这样咯。就是这样咯。This leads to renewal, as I said, accompanied by delight and lust. So there are two parts here. Not sure if you saw it. Two parts here. Part one, I read to you again. It leads to this happening. It leads to renewed existence. Part one, accompanied by delight and lust. So existence is accompanied by delight and lust. That's part one. Part two, seeking delight here and there. Two parts. Why do I say it's in two parts? The driving itself is just a drive. But it must land somewhere. It must land outside or inside. So outside would be sound, sight, smell, taste, touch. Inside, your head, your brain, your memory, your plan, your pleasure. So it lands there, it lands there, it lands there, it lands there, it lands all over the place. And everyone accompanied by delight and lust. This is describing daily life. When the Buddha said the Four Noble Truths has to be understood as is fully. The first one understood fully. The second one, craving, abandoned completely. The third one, coming up. That one later. So, this part, most people will land on Karma Tangha, Vibhava Tangha, Bhava Tangha, Vibhava Tangha. Right? Karma Tangha, Bhava Tangha, Vibhava Tangha. Those are the three key things. Karma Tangha, sense-based pleasure, craving. Bhava Vibhava Tangha, mind-based pleasure, craving. That is all. Outside, inside. 就是这样. It's outside and inside. And in all three, it describes the nature of our craving. We outside chase, we inside chase, land here, land there, every moment keeps spinning. That's what it means. This is where everybody goes, Jialat. This is where we go, oh man. Because this is where you realize the battery, the battery of life, that battery is craving. And this craving literally rules your life. Whether you're chasing outside, you're chasing inside, every moment you want to land somewhere. You don't believe, you sit quietly in your meditation, you go look at your mind. The mind wants to land somewhere. Yes. And what pushes it to land is craving. Okay? So now we go on. Now this, bhikkhu, is the noble truth of the cessation of dukkha. I will finish reading this and then I will talk. It is the remainderless fading away and cessation of that same craving. The giving up and relinquishing, freedom from it, non-reliance on it. We all assume, when you read this one, we all assume it's the big nibbana. Right? Cessation, remainderless, fading away. It's nibbana. So finish, done. But it's not that. Because it's every day this happens. It's actually present moment. Because when that craving, for that split minute, every craving arises and fades. So therefore every dukkha arises and fades. But as it arises, it will fade, right? It will drop, right? At the point when it drops, that is cessation. Cessation of craving, cessation of dukkha. You look at your mind, at any time when craving is not obvious, there is no dukkha. It ceased. That is why the way he said it, remainderless fading, it will fade away. Giving up, relinquishing, abandoning. It fades away, then you go take it up. He's telling you, it fades away, you let it go. And your mind don't take it up again. That's when you will feel freedom from it. Then this cute little word that says non-reliance on it, you see, the human mind is addicted to pleasure. Our mind is addicted to pleasure. And we live relying on pleasure. He's saying, do not get addicted. Don't be relying on that. You will only pick it up because you want to go back to the pleasure. That's what he meant. So if it were just the end game nibbana, why did he continue using the word freedom from it and finally non-reliance on it? non-reliance doesn't make sense because non-reliance implies that there is still reliance. You have to choose not to be reliant. 对不对? Then you think about it, right? I said don't non-reliance. If I use the word non-reliance, you are saying don't be relying on it. If the person has completely let go, there's nothing left. But it's a reminder, don't go back to it. Don't go back. Don't depend on it. So if you take at this line and you look at just your everyday life, right? Of course there's dukkha, because the craving is intense. We're driven around by craving. The more thought, so people who comes and tell me, oh, my mind can't settle, it's flying all over. You have a lot of craving. I don't have one. I don't have. Like that lor, 就是这样. Actually, when your mind can't sit still, right, it floats around a lot, right? Your battery very active. Yours is a regenerating battery. The craving battery, wow. You know, it's like you stroke you cause friction. The fire will come out, right? Not that I've done it before, but I understand the principle. I understand the principle. They will come out, right? Like that. The regular mind, which cannot come down, has a lot of wanting, stirring the mind. It's just like that. Okay? So, you understand this one, huh? Then the fourth one that says, this is the Eightfold Path. He repeated. Okay? This is the one where he repeated the Eightfold Path, and he said, this is the noble truth of dukkha in regard to things unheard before. There arose in me vision. You all memorize it. Vision, knowledge, wisdom, true knowledge, and light. And I said to another group, I knew all of them except the last one that says light. So I asked Dr. Ng, my guru, I asked Dr. Ng, what did she say? So everybody like, yeah, what did she say? You must ask Dr. Ng to verify. My recollection of what she said, you just remind her, did someone ask you this? Maybe she'll forget. But she said that, no, actually maybe I shouldn't say it because I'm not sure. I should say it because I don't remember it well. But it doesn't matter. You just have to get past the other ones first. Vision, knowledge, wisdom, true knowledge, and light. Okay. Vision, earlier on we mentioned. So you know how it's done. From what you see and understood from what you see for yourself, you correlated for yourself, you build knowledge. If it really sinks in, it is wisdom. It has to sink in you because you can see and you sort of understand, and then is it not important lah? How many of us have gone for a retreat, seen a nature of sort, then come out of retreat, drop half the things? It has to sink in deep enough to become wisdom, and then you will know how to use it. Because it's not done yet. With wisdom, true knowledge is nibbana knowledge. You go in depth into the actual realization and taste of nibbana. This is the true knowledge. So the light comes after the knowledge arises.
You mentioned right liberation.
This one not yet. But okay, in this sutta he didn't say right liberation. But in the Tenfold Path, he talks about right knowledge, true samanyana, right knowledge, and right liberation, where the mind is free. Okay? Okay. Then he said, this noble truth of dukkha is to be fully understood. In regard to things unheard before they arose me. So, the knowledge of dukkha, what is it that drives you on a daily basis? The battery that drives you has to be understood. Not understand as in I feel pain, but understand the true nature of dukkha. That the very fact you live, you were born, you live, you will die. The very fact that you are here, there will be things you want or not want. The mind works around it, it talks a lot. Every time it talks, you will have dukkha. Dukkha has to be understood. Understood is to use the mind to understand, not use your heart to feel. That's the difference. For most of us who say we know what's dukkha, actually it's the heart that feels, and therefore we get emotional. Understood is to use your head, your mind, to have a logical, sensible, balanced, objective, and what Yan Yan likes to say, clinical understanding. It's clinical, it's detached, it's objective. Your heart does not feel the pain when you understand. Not that it's not painful, it's that you're not emotional about it. Okay? So you can actually see dukkha and smile. And then the Buddha went on to say, has been understood. Is to be understood, meaning to say, as part of your practice. And this is where sometimes we go wrong. Here you have the Buddha saying it categorically. Dukkha is to be understood. Dukkha has been fully understood. So you have dukkha, you have should be understood, then got it. Right? There are three parts to it. First is there. Then you understand it has to be understood, and then you understand. You fully understand it. Now, what is the significance of three parts? Something that is there has to be seen as it is and understood for what it is. And this is the part in the whole practice. What is the purpose of walking the path? Is for the experience, absolute understanding, for cessation of dukkha, right? It is for understanding, abandoning, cultivating, and realizing. 4 parts. And it all boils down to that. Do you or do you not understand the very nature of that mind? The mind that is driven crazy by its craving. But it doesn't have to be like that. It knows how to stop. Everything that comes will drop. It will cease by itself. Whatever comes up, it will stop. If you stop thinking, it stops. If you stop thinking, it stops. So what are you clinging on? You're clinging on to it, so you think some more. And as you think, it starts. It's basically like that. So, if you understand dukkha properly, you will understand the nature of the mind properly. This is what it means. If you understand dukkha properly, you will understand the nature of the mind properly. And what is the nature of the mind? Anicca, dukkha, anatta. That's the nature of the mind. You understand it properly. Then he went on to say, origin of suffering. There is the noble truth of the origin of suffering. The noble truth of the origin of suffering is to be abandoned. The noble truth of suffering, of the origin of suffering, has been abandoned. This part is about that battery, right? Craving. Objectively, there is this problem. You need to let go of that battery. Has to be abandoned. Is to be abandoned. And then you know when you have abandoned it. Okay? This part has to do with fundamentally defilements. All defilements go back to one boss: craving. Any version, fear, worry, restlessness, doubts, every version of every single defilement you can think of has only one root: craving. So right here, what the Buddha was saying is you need to overcome all defilements, which fundamentally is craving. So to put it a different way, because sometimes you don't see the defilement, you don't see that craving, you see only that defilement. So like fear, you actually don't see it as craving, you see it as scared. You see it as fear. But underneath fear is craving. Craving to be alive. Craving for what? Craving to be alive. Why are you afraid of death? Why do I want to be alive? Why do you have a ghost? Because I want to be alive, but ghosts can chase me. If let's say ghosts become your good friend, you sit down, you talk to ghosts, the ghost talk to you, you talk, then you realize he won't harm you more. You know scared ghosts. But you can be not this one. Not this one. No, this one. This one. Right? You're not scared of the one that you talk to, but you're still scared of others, other version. You know what I'm saying? With knowledge comes no fear. So you realize, they are all mental energy, only mental energy, then you're not scared already. But as long as you have no knowledge of them, as long as your mind starts to think and imagine, and you're afraid that they will come after you, bang you on the head, make you fall, make you scared, that's where your fear will start. It's craving. Why is doubt defilement? And why is doubt craving? Doubt. Right? I said all defilements, all akusala, one road. It all leads back to one boss: craving. Doubt. See me craving, right? See ya.
Want to know.
Craving to know. Why you want to know? Why is so important? What do you need to know? You think about it. Maybe.
What about craving and aversion? Are precisely the same thing?
Yes. If you don't know, you get annoyed, ma. The teacher talk, never get to the point, you get annoyed, ma. How are you supposed to overcome my doubt like that? You go round and round and round, follow you in right into the labyrinth, cannot come out. Very jialat, right? That's where the aversion starts. Vicikicca, doubt. It's very cute. It's the least obvious, but it's a defilement. Because in there, yes, you're right, it is about, I want to know. But why is it that, it actually leads one more point, it leads further in. What do you need to know? Because to know could mean something for me. It must, yes, it has to mean something for me that I want to know. Do you want to know how to make cake? If you're a baker and you're earning a living, yes. The rest of us, no. Do you want to know how to program? Hey, are you sure this way of programming is right or this way is right? Seriously. Only the programmer who earns a living or only the programmer who wants to fix his computer wants to know. Everyone else, I'm not interested. So this thing about doubt has to do with I want to know, which has to do with what's in it for me. Everything goes back that way. So like, I'm tired. Why is indolent akusala? Why is it a defilement? Because you want to indulge. Because your mind thinks that working is painful. Not working is pleasure. So I want to indulge. Then why we all see already not happy? You think about it. You see somebody not working, you're not happy. Why? Why? Because he not working means you got to work. All roads lead back to you. If you are not going to do your chore, I got to do for you. If you don't care, then it's okay. You want to sleep with your clothes from 10 days ago? Fine. Because I'm not responsible for I don't care. But if your job is to go clean up, yes, you care. You see what I'm saying? Humans are very cute one. You go look at your own anger, it all boils back to number one. It's all about my interests. Same. Judgmental is also about self-preservation and self-protection. You see, there are two versions. There is the, I'm usually not judgmental until I'm judgmental. That's version 1. Meaning to say, I usually don't care. Then I care. Then I talk, I say. In that case, that particular event has a direct bearing on me or mine. Meaning to say, my wife, my children. I am not judgmental until, hey, the boy pushed my boy leh. What the naughty boy? Normally, I don't care about the naughty boys. You see what I'm saying? So I don't care until I care type of people. That particular event when he judges or is critical is when something affects him or his loved ones. Then there is the version which is his baseline, her baseline, judgmental. He can't help it. That kind, right? Usually is habit ready. For the life of, it basically is a habit. When a habit is formed, don't know how to stop being judgmental. Then you practice, oh, I'm very jalap, not supposed to say anything. Teacher, the rope too short, cannot see. Teacher, the rope too long, cannot see. It's just like that. So, what do you do? Other people don't care, it's about yourself. What do you do? If you find that your mind is of version 1, and you want to be a practitioner, you're serious about it, Eightfold Path, hello, start work. I told you, right, must start spinning. There is defilement, it means Akusala has arisen, there's something I want. What is it about me I want? What is it that you want that led to you saying like that? I want my teacher to be perfect. And he's not perfect enough. So therefore I'm critical. You must really not know that. So it's not your teacher's fault. His robe is his robe. What's it going to do with you? So it's your fault. Right? Your mouth, your mind. And then what's version 2? What's the second point? Nekkhamma. Nekkhamma. Let it go. Let your thoughts drop. Go back to the kusala. No words here. Minds don't come up. Don't turn. Viriya. Grateful to the teacher. I don't care how he looks. He has taught me, or whatever it is lah. Basically, your wheel must start spinning. If your wheel spin in the wrong direction, you also jialat. What do I mean? You're actually quite steady, you know. Then it went in the wrong direction. Suddenly, something to say. So from calm became messy. It went wrong direction. You see what I'm saying? Okay. Now, what is interesting is if you look at how the sequence goes, right? First noble truth, this is the problem. This is a problem. Second noble truth, this is the reason why. Third noble truth, it can end. Fourth noble truth, this is how you do it. Why does it go like that? Typically, if let's say there is a problem, usually this is how it goes. This is a problem. This is how it happens. This is what we must do to stop it. Right? Typically it should go like that, but your noble truth switch at the end. Have you ever wondered why? First noble truth, second noble truth. We are all logical people, and we know Buddha was amazingly logical. But the third noble truth and fourth noble truth seems to have switched place. Correct. Parlor cost. But this is not parlor, ma. Like, you see, typically, you know what I'm saying, right?
Yes, I know what
Yeah.
you're saying.
But do you see do you see this oddness here?
Yes, of course.
Do you know? Can you explain why logically? Why is there this oddness? First, do you agree it's a bit odd? First, second, third, fourth. I mean, I saw it as a bit odd, but did you wonder? Did you even see it as odd? This is a problem. This is the reason why this is a problem. And it stops. Okay, this is how. Normally it should be, this is a problem. This is the reason why it's a problem. This is how we fix it. Fix. Sure. That's the whole idea.
The third noble truth, could it be because of the people around, or even me myself, there might not be any conviction for the cessation of the dukkha thought. So if there is no, if you don't have the thoughts of having a cessation, the methods will not be applicable if you don't feel that you want to cease to.
Okay.
So
Plausible explanation.
Yeah, so the cessation will come first. So if you make a determination or you cease
Yes.
the need to cease, then you proceed on with the path or you proceed on with noble eightfold.
Plausible.
This is my speculation.
Yeah, plausible. It's a plausible explanation. Agree? It's a reasonable explanation.
We give an inspiration to some person, and there's an end to the problem.
Yeah. There's an end of problem. Okay, this is how you do. Yes, it's a plausible. I have another explanation, but half left. our group is very small, you see. Yeah. I have another explanation, but it's a plausible explanation. And probably this is how, if you were to think about it, this is how you would say, yeah, it could be like this. It could be because this. So we have a problem, this is the reason why, but not to worry, it can end. And this is how it. So you're addressing people who are skeptical. Then my.
People who have the least. Some people will just stop at. Even some stop at the first noble truth, but some people stop at the third noble truth. Then they might not want to pursue further. So
They don't want to pursue means they don't understand.
Yeah.
Because it's all about the fourth.
Yeah. But some people will just want to pick and choose. They would rather stop at the third and not proceed on to the fourth.
But you see, you will never experience the third.
Yeah.
If you go by this logic, right? If you go by this logic, 1, 2, and then the 3, which is the traditional one, and then the 4, right? If you say the intent, the reason why it flows like this is because people maybe not so bought in yet. So we must assure them that good things will come. So there's a problem, and not to worry, it will become like this. This is possible. And this is how we can achieve that. This is the traditional way of explaining this, what I call abnormality lah. And if this is the case, if this is the thing, then what you said about, well, maybe they won't buy into the fourth, then the third is irrelevant. Because but by this logic, the third can happen only with the fourth done properly. Correct? I have a different.
Can I try?
Yes, you try.
Because we went to Taiwan, then we listened to one of the teachers.
Okay.
So he says, he was talking Dharma, of course. And he says, are you aware now? Do you have any hatred of delusion? Next, look. He says that we are only aware when there's trouble or when there's craving. But there is a state whereby there's no craving.
Yes.
But we are not aware of that.
Yes.
And so when you turn your mind there, you you
Yes.
actually can see it. But the problem with us is that after seeing it, then we start
Yes.
speculating. Is this what
Yes.
is happening? But that
Yes.
state itself is already there within us.
Correct.
Yeah.
And yes, that is exactly what I was going to say. Actually, that's the reason why, in my mind, he presented it like that. Who's this teacher?
Oh, it's a Maya Lama, but he's very much on that Dhammas. And that's what the Chinese group is actually listening to.
Yes.
Okay.
And I believe that's the right explanation. Because really, the very nature of craving is it has to be fed.
It's always been fed.
It's leeching on you, off you. The very nature of craving is it can actually, you can see, it's embedded within all of us for craving to rise and fall. I kept saying that earlier on. It's embedded in all of us for craving to rise and fall. It's embedded in all of us. But we never saw it end because we desire delight and lust. And because of our delighting and lusting habits, we keep the fire burning. So, Buddha's point was, in my mind, that now you can see that flow already. It can end. That's why the last word used was non-reliance it. You see that? It can end. Don't go back to it. This is what you must do. Otherwise it won't end.
Let it fade away.
Huh?
Let it fade away. Fade away.
It will fade away. You look at your own craving, right? It changes in intensity. From I really want it to I don't mind having it. But it actually, I really want it. But if the mind doesn't think about it, that one thing, that pain fades. In order for the pain to stay with you, you have to go back and think about it. You have to resurrect it. You have to resurrect. It's like someone scolds you, right? But the pain is up and down, up and down, up and down. The pain directly correlates to I don't like what I hear. What I heard, I don't like. And I don't like means I like not to hear like that. Okay? It's painful when I hear it. Then when your mind got distracted, the pain fades away. It
You
ceases.
just ignore it.
Yeah. But it fades away. You ignore it, it fades. But you go back to it more. You use the word ignore. The word ignore says that actually it's there, but you're not watching it. But the reality is it's actually not there. But it comes back when you remember. When you remember, it's resurrected. That's your that's resurrection.
Coming back to life.
Coming back to life, yes.
This can be practiced during meditation.
Yes. It's practiced in daily life.
I mean, during the meditation, like, you can discover that.
Discover the fading away.
No, I mean the pain.
Yes, definitely. But that is the physical pain. There's mental pain. And mental pain comes back alive. Physical pain, you move and you alleviate the pain. But the mental pain is you resurrecting the pain. Because there is a part in us that believes what goes in stays in. It's a belief. What goes in stays in. And the mind will just go and scratch at the scape, scabs. Yeah. scratch the skin. The mind mentally revisits and resurrects the pain. It resurrects craving, and it's craving that is painful. So in how we talk to ourselves is to pacify, is to change the craving. But we change it in such a way, often unwisely. We change it in such a way as to make us feel good in a different way, but it feeds new craving. He doesn't know what he's talking about, man. The silly man. Jamapan. You know, our mind has funny way of, we do funny things lah. Because in the course of this life, we have lived many years. Even the youngest amongst us has lived many years and has encountered many things and has found different ways of coping with pain and finding pleasure. And we keep going back doing the same thing. Okay, so actually, Dhammacakka, after you unpack it and start to explain, you cannot understand why this is such a powerful sutta. Essentially, everything is anicca. Everything is, every construct, everything, thoughts. You see, very often when you have thoughts, I said earlier, and I'm saying it again, thoughts are often feeding craving. Craving feeds thought, thoughts feed craving. This is how it keeps going. What would it take for us to drop thoughts? Is when you see thoughts as impermanent, dukkha, and anatta, conditionally a reason. When you see thoughts as mind-made, created, and feeding craving, if you do that, if you see that, you may begin to let thoughts go. You're letting thoughts go. So every time, whether it's good or bad, when it comes up, you tell yourself, mind-made are things, you let it go. You don't hold on to thoughts. Then you're back to nothing there. I'm present. There is presence. When you're present, don't be smug. Metta. This is where the kusala must come out. Right? Viriya. The kusala must come out.
And what has to do with conceit, right?
Conceit is actually the sum of your defilements. You see, it's very, very cute. We think of conceit as conceit. It's a state. When you're angry, your conceit comes up. When you have a view,
The idea I am.
will come up.
Yes.
All defilements contain conceit. All forms of defilements contain conceits. When you have no defilement, when it is kusala and is pure, there is no conceit. So actually, conceit is the sum of defilements.
If you see anatta, then the conceit should fade away, right?
If you see anatta, first time you see it, you realize conceit is mind-made. It doesn't fade away yet because the habits are still strong. Conceit fades away only when defilements completely fades away. That is why in conceit as in mana, not the I brought conceit, it's the mana conceit. That mana lah. That is why only the Arahant has no more mana. It's a mental energy for it's the sum of your defilement. And it's very cute. That's the reason why you feel so real. It is so weird.
Yeah.
You feel most real and most entitled when your akusala is pounding its chest. Like Tarzan. So think of a semi-naked man in loincloth pounding away, that's mana. It's the sum of all our defilements.
Every time you are aware that you have mana, It will just let go like that.
Correct. You must remember it's mind-made. It's a defilement. Just say it's defilement. That's why Ajahn Jayaswami always say, you want cessation of dukkha, is the cessation of defilements.
And this comes to the fact that people get old. Get old, right?
Yes.
These involve people talking to each other all the time.
Yes.
So
And Sasampa Palapa mind, unfortunately, is a mind that has a lot of craving. You have nothing to sampa if you have no craving. Come, let's talk Dhamma. Not craving, you know? You won't, you know what he did that day, I tell you, okay? He went to buy coffee, you know, then you were like, Sudala. Not very interested in that, you know what you see? There's something else I wanted to say and I happily forgot. It's like that, you drop, then you drop. What happened? Something came by and it got dropped off. Sorry. So this is Dhammacakka. And actually, Dhammacakka, Anatta Lakkhana Sutta and Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the two of them, if we have we don't have time, but actually if I were ever to really conduct a class on Dhammacakka, I will conduct back to back with Anatta, Friday, Saturday. Why? Because Anatta Lakkhana, Buddha patched up the gaps. In Dhammacakka, it was the essence, the crux of the teaching. Now you can see it is the crux of the teaching. It's to give people, to encourage people to let go of craving. But craving is such a powerful force. It's Mara. It's a very powerful force. So the only way you can fix craving is if your knowledge increases, your understanding of the mind increases, your acceptance that this is impermanent and the clinging is dukkha and so on and so on. You have to accept the teaching to some extent, and then you can start to really let go of craving. But in Dhammacakka, he did not specifically mention anicca, dukkha, anatta. Dukkha. But he didn't mention anicca and anatta at all in Dhammacakka. Huh?
Just emphasize on
Yeah. He talked about dukkha because if you look at your own life, right, why are you here learning? It's because you feel dukkha. It's something that's quite unsatisfying. Life is not as is cannot be it, not so short, must be a little bit more. So that's the reason why we will go and search and do things and change things and so on. We can't accept. There is no acceptance and contentment in our heart. And honestly, if not for the Dhamma that I'm beginning to understand and appreciate deeply, I also not instinctively accepting more. How? My kind of credentials type one cannot instinctively accept one. School time must fight. Working time must fight some more. Working big time already fight is bigger. This kind of background sure, huh?
Dhamma also got fight.
Dhamma don't know lah. Once you know Dhamma, you fight means not
Yeah,
Dhamma.
exactly.
Correct. So it is only when you really understand what is it that was driving you nuts fighting. What are you fighting for? It's only when you begin to understand, you say, alamak, sudahlah.
wasting time.
Waste time, waste energy, make yourself happy and become more unhappy. It's only when you begin to understand how the mind works that you begin to realize what you're doing is counterproductive. And then you say, I need to change this habit. Because as long as the habit is not changed, I will never be happy. Then as you begin to change the habit, you begin to understand how the Dhamma works, you begin to see even more problem. Why? Because here we are talking about fixing one life habit. I want to be happy. Next time, Camel Princess. Then how? Do you remember how to do the Dhamma right? You don't remember, right? How to be happy? From happy baby to very sad adult. It's lives. You don't remember the Dhamma. So what we want, because if you don't accept lives after life, if you don't accept rebirth, and you say die already, finish, full stop, then so be it. Happy or sad, so be it. Huh?
Buddha said that to be reborn again and again is something.
Exactly. Because to be reborn is to die. To be reborn is to be separated. To be reborn is to lose. Unfortunately, this is the nature of life. So in our life, we want to keep changing the mind's wiring so that it gets less and less, and instinctively, conditionally, it turns away from craving. Conditionally, it turns away. Then one day, it will become clinging is nonsense. One day, it slowly it will get there, and then clinging, you start to let go of it. Conditionally. Because now you say stop, it will be the other one, self-mortification. I step. So with understanding, that is why his method emphasized understanding and change, change and understanding, and it works in tandem. It's the path, not just the knowledge. The knowledge makes it easier for you to embrace the path. The path enables you to understand more. As you understand more, you will implement the path even more. You will be non-negotiable in how you implement it. So it's like that. You start with small steps, then it becomes big steps. You will hit a certain threshold, it goes into the big steps. Okay. Now, let me just share one final point. I suddenly remembered with this. One final point, which is really quite cute. Okay, we started this talk saying, the handpicked talent spotted the 5 top people he knows can understand the Dhamma. Then that one got through, 4 didn't, right? And that's Dhammacakka. When he met a whole bunch of lay people after this, Yasa, father, mother, wife, friends, 55. He was converting like that, right? It was not Dhammacakka. He fine-tuned his method. Buddha learned as he taught. He has fine-tuned. Because the next round, Yasa was a lay person. Now you say, oh, Yasa was ready. His wife leh, his father leh, his mother leh. They're all ready. They are the Indian housewife at the kitchen. My son is missing. But they all got through. Sit down there, talk, enter stream. Like factory like that, right, factory like that. He fine-tuned his method. He knew what to touch, what to do, and he pitched it right for them. Otherwise, how can this whole bunch of, because earlier on he was hand-picking away, right? Think very hard. Then he, this one can, see liao. Think somewhere, also see liao. Then, he was hand-picking, right? Subsequently, he didn't hand-pick, Yasa, okay, he was waiting for Yasa, so that doesn't count. But as I said, father and mother and wife, he wasn't waiting for them. Yasa said, the father said, you come to my house, we offer you alms. So he went, he said, then he preached, then he got in. And then children, son number 1, son number 2, son number 54. The whole bunch of them came, friends, a whole bunch of them. Yeah, he's fine-tuned his method. After that, there's a whole bunch of people, including 30 young men hopping around in the forest somewhere, out on a daily. They went out to go picnic, and they came back sotapanna. Yeah, wonderful. It's quite amazing. But the point, we don't know. Actually, that story is quite cute because we actually have no. It's a hearsay. It's actually a hearsay. Because the Dhammacakkappavattana, they're all captured in suttas, right? But that conversion of the 30, I don't know, some say sprint, some say whatever, it's a hearsay. But the point that they wanted to capture for posterity is that after a while, it was pretty easy for him. So when did he next hit a roadblock? Did you know? The next time he hit a roadblock, it's very cute. The more kilat you are supposed to be, the harder it was to convert you. All these lay fellas, tiêu liao jip. Everybody enters stream like, they all got through. Then they all got through. But the next time he hit a roadblock, it was the Kassapa brothers. The Kassapas, the elders of the Kassapas was the hardest to get through. He has to magic power him and magic some more at him until he fed up. He says, "You are not, I am." Then the guy went, oh. After this whole period of delusion, he gave up. Seriously, he you know, all the spells are very interesting. The spells, when you read history, you must read the context. The first thing he did when he met, it's a long story, but I just take one story, yeah? Kassapa brothers, right? Do you all know the story? He went back to Bodhigaya to meet up with the first Kassapa brother, the oldest one of the 500 pupils, meaning he's the biggest school, okay? And then he went to the Kassapa brother and he said, "Can I rest here?" And the fellow said, "Oh, you can see but that one, you don't stay in that house, that shrine, because there is this naga there and he's very vicious and he will burn you to a crisp." Fire worshipper. These guys were all fire worshipper. The first thing he did was he fight fire with fire. He subdued the naga. Fire. So he already manifested his capacity to contain fire, meaning he can control. The guy still say, "I'm an Arahant," he is not. Kassapa brother in his mind, I didn't say it. So it was very interesting that Buddha actually pitched it very high, but the guy was not convinced. And then every other steps, reading mind, manipulating elements, water, fire, ice, temperature, all the fellas say, I am the Arahant, he is not. But he benefited from the fire, everything, you know. Until in the end, Buddha gave up. You are not realized. You don't even know the way up. And that was when he woke up. Quite interesting. Buddhist history is really very interesting, very fascinating. So any last question before we close?
Training is something very hard to get rid of. Today I saw my GP and he said you should not take so much salt, you should not take much sugar, you should not take so much fat. And these are the three things that I like most.
In order for you to be alive, you have to feed body and mind. The body one you understand, it's very simple because we're all familiar with the body, but the mind one is very interesting. Basically, there are three things that keeps you going on a rebirth channel. You keep clicking. One, feelings. Two, feelings keep you going. Two, thoughts. It keeps you going. Three, consciousness. Okay? So, in order for you... Now, why are these three things so sticky? It is because your mind very instinctively chase after pleasant feelings. Right? Chase after pleasant feelings. You want it. But in order for feeling to arise, what must you have? Contact. I don't fix feeling. I must fix contact. So he say, in your mind, but I must warn you, these are all practitioners, very serious practitioner monks. So he told them, think of contact not as something pleasurable, because our mind, the reason why you still crave is because you remember the pleasant sensation. It's the contact that you want, right? So he said, for every contact, you think of contact as the skinned cow standing against a wall with crawlies biting into the cow. So every time you think of feeling, right, go straight to the contact and think of that cow against the... It's a very graphic, very bloody image. You can squeak in your head. Screech in your head. It's nice seeing you guys.
Sadhu.
Sa.